Welcome to the yesHEis podcast, where we talk about sharing your faith with confidence so that you can play your part in helping the world know Jesus.
Well, welcome to the yesHEis podcast. So glad that you can join us today.
Yeah, welcome.
My name is Sam, and
My name is Tahila.
And my name is Tim.
and
I'm Jesse.
Hi, Jesse.
That was Jesse. our
Jesse's
producer.
over there.
He's feeling really left out.
For those of you who don't know, Jesse's our producer, and I feel like there's this awkward thing where he just wants to be behind the microphone. He got one chance, like, if you want to go through our back catalogue, you can search. Like,
find
I think he was on
shot.
one episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I don't
actually
know why he hasn't been invited back.
it's actually been something I've been meaning to talk to you about, Jesse. You really need to just calm that ego a little bit. Just
He's in the corner.
I say that
No,
as a
Jesse's
joke
awesome. We
because
love Jesse.
Jesse's one of the most humble people I know. So
Yeah. Did he tell you that, or?
yeah, he paid me $50 to say that. So, hey, we would love to share with you today something that we posted recently, and you guys thought was really fun to read and comment on, and it got a lot of engagement. And so we thought we'd talk about it today on the pod. On the pod. It's what the kids say. And basically the catchline, great marketing on this pod, on this
serious topic.
post.
This was a serious topic.
Yeah, serious topic.
You said people had fun, and I'm like, did they?
Well, yeah, like
Are you sure about
conviction
that?
fun.
Yeah, conviction kind of fun. The fun that only conviction can bring.
Yeah, absolutely. The fun that leads to the foot of the cross. But the first slide in this Instagram
this is
post,
good.
it said the big fat,
ugly
ugly lie
lie.
that most Christians believe.
Oh,
If that's not
clickbait.
attention grabbing, I don't know what is. Absolutely.
What is it?
Like, props to our marketing team.
Yeah.
Well done. We put in like fake applause there, Jesse.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. But like fake applause, like canned applause, because for real effect. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Of
course.
Anyway, here's the big fat lie, because we've left you in suspense now. The big fat lie is that people believe that your sins disqualify you from sharing the gospel.
Ooh.
Like, you can't share Jesus if you got a past. That's the idea.
Or a present.
Or a present. And yeah. So people think that stops them from sharing Jesus, when that is, in essence, a big, fat, ugly lie.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah.
not what the gospel tells us.
I think we feel disqualified for so many reasons.
Totally.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, everyone struggles with sin. But it's not just that. It's like feelings of insecurity, like feelings of low self-esteem,
Yep.
like whatever it is, anxiety, depression.
Yep.
All these things can, life is a roller coaster and
Absolutely.
it fluctuates up and down.
Yeah.
And even just not feeling great on a particular day, emotions go up and down. And yeah.
Absolutely. And it does feel like that. There is a long catalog, a long list of things that we feel can disqualify us from sharing Jesus. But the good news is that the gospel is for all believers.
Yeah.
The gospel is for all people. And it is powerful for all people. And that includes the person sharing Jesus.
Yeah.
And so I think it's good to remember sometimes that the gospel doesn't apply to the person you're sharing Jesus with, but it also applies to me. And that should shape the way that I share Jesus as well.
That's
Yeah.
good.
That it's not just them that needs, the blood of the lamb. I need the blood of the lamb. I need the forgiveness of my sins. I need the grace of Jesus. I need his mercy. I need his goodness. And when that applies to me and I know that, then all those disqualifications, they fall to the wayside.
Yeah.
And so it's important to remember that. There's a verse in 2 Corinthians 12, verse 9 to 10. And actually, let me share this one instead. 2 Corinthians 4, verse 7 says, "But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." And I think, like, just to be totally straightforward, we are the jars of clay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. You're like, I've been reading that. I thought I was the treasure. We are the jars of clay. We are fallible. We are, like,
Totally.
speaking from my own point of view, I'm jacked up. Like, I've made mistakes and I keep making mistakes. But
I literally first heard that. I thought she meant like you'd been to the gym a
Yeah,
lot.
same.
Yeah,
I was
I'm on
like,
steroids, guys.
Oh my goodness. Where is this
Jesse,
going?
don't clip that. But I need Jesus, and it's not because of my perfection. It's not because of my merits. Not because of what I bring to the table that makes the gospel powerful. It's because of the treasure in me, and that is the gospel. That's what Jesus has done in me. That's what makes it powerful.
Yeah.
And we actually, I think, Tahila, you had a bit of a story around this that you wanted to share. Have you ever wanted to share your faith but felt unsure of what to say? Maybe you've hesitated, wondering if you'll have the right words or even if the conversation might be awkward. Well, that's where the yesHEis app comes in. The yesHEis app helps you to share your faith with confidence. And it's packed with practical tools and resources to help make sharing Jesus a natural part of everyday life. When you step out and share your faith, you can even log your actions and see them light up a world map alongside others around the world that are sharing their faith too. So if you're looking for a simple way to step out and make a difference, download the yesHEis app today. It's free, it's simple, and will encourage you to share Jesus with confidence. Now, back to the show.
Oh yeah, I just thought, like, for me, like, I've grown up a Christian my whole life, and I think that it's such a special thing that we get to read the Word and learn and understand what God's doing in our own hearts. But something that might stop you from feeling like you can step out and share might be, I don't know, like, you might feel you can't be vulnerable with people about what you've gone through or what you've experienced. And a few years ago, I remember I was just like in this really tough stage of life where I was just struggling, but I was committed to going to church and committed to like being in with my Christian friends and family. But I did feel the Lord convict me to stay vulnerable and to be open and honest with where I was at. And I think that can help us kind of put away the pressure of having everything perfect. And my thought really was that we can disqualify ourselves from sharing the gospel when we're going through a storm or when we're going through a tough situation. But honestly, when we get to share what God's doing, even when we're in the struggle or in the storm or in the mess, that God reveals so much more of his love through when we share with people. So I was convinced to, convicted to share with my two friends just randomly on a Sunday night at church. I was like, they were like, how are you going? And I was like, honestly, like, I'm not good, but I know that I will be because God's been with me through this, and I'm committed to coming to church. And I feel like God's saying to be honest and vulnerable with people around me. So that wasn't exactly sharing the gospel, but I think those moments can really make us choose or decide that we're going to like shy away. But I think that God really glorifies himself in those moments when he brings us wholeness and peace in those spaces. So if you're feeling like you're disqualified or disqualifying yourself probably because you're going through a season, honestly, look for those people that encourage you and build you up and help you to really stay planted in what God's calling you to do through those times.
Absolutely. And I think like to bring this around to sharing Jesus is that that authenticity in the midst of, like, I love what you said. You're like, to be honest, I'm not doing okay, but I know that God is good.
Yeah.
And I think that conviction that just because my circumstance changes, my theology doesn't have to.
Yeah.
So I still believe that God is good.
Yeah.
I still believe that he is in control, and I know that he's going to bring me through this. I think that's having that firm foundation is so important.
Yeah.
And on that same note, when you're sharing Jesus with people, then I think people they can't relate to perfection, but they can relate to
100%
realness and authenticity.
Yeah.
And realness and authenticity is messy.
Yeah.
It's not clean and tidy and squared away, but it is relatable. And when people can relate to you most in sharing Jesus and the gospel, when they know that Jesus doesn't just apply to the 90 minutes on a Sunday when I've got my church clothes on, but they apply to the Wednesday afternoon when I'm falling apart, but I still have faith and hope for the future.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Totally.
A few weeks ago, we talked about a story where someone was being vulnerable, and this person said her friend could see that my relationship with Jesus has changed me.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And I think it was I think that's the heart of it, right? It's like if we don't let people sort of behind the curtain like to see the, how Jesus is actually with us in our struggles.
Yes.
And a support and, being steadfast in the storm, our anchor, like all of those things that they're a stronghold, then they can't see the value.
Yeah,
they're not going to see, people are teachable at their point of need. And so if they can see how Jesus is helping us in our need, then that will hopefully, make them more open then to seeing how maybe he could help them. And yeah,
totally. And maybe you're listening today and you feel like there has been a moment, maybe a particular moment in your past, or maybe just this overarching theme in your life where you feel disqualified from sharing Jesus. We'd just love to encourage you today that your mistakes, your past, the things that you're carrying from past seasons, they don't have to disqualify you from sharing Jesus. In fact, they can add credibility, they can add authenticity, they can add power to sharing Jesus in your life. Why? Because you've walked through that by faith in Jesus. And when people can connect with that, I really believe that when you share that with authenticity, you share that with faith, and you share that with hope in Jesus, that people can identify with that, and they can actually start to understand that, wow, this actually has power for my life as well. And so don't disqualify yourself from sharing Jesus, because Jesus is real in every season, and it can be powerful for you in this season and the last and the next.
Yeah.
Hey guys, just wanted to jump in here in the middle of this episode to remind you that if you're enjoying this episode, then you need to like and subscribe. I know it's going to bless you, but also rate and review it, because I know that when we do that, it really helps. At least that's what my producer tells us. So make sure you do that. Back to the episode.
I just add something as well, because as we've been thinking this through, I think there's almost multiple layers. There's like, do I feel disqualified from sharing Jesus? That's sort of maybe the external layer. I feel like maybe there's this even internal layer that we could speak to, which is like, do I even feel disqualified from my personal relationship with Jesus? Right? Because when we're going through struggle, we're talking about sharing Jesus, but I think I sometimes feel this. I don't know, maybe sometimes there might be some listeners who feel this as well. It's just like you're going through a struggle and maybe you're actually not sharing that with Jesus. Maybe you're not at that point yet of processing that with the Lord. And as I was thinking about this, I don't know if anyone watches. I don't know if anyone's watching The Chosen at the moment. It's this like mini series about, not mini series. It's like it's a huge series about Jesus.
It's pretty epic.
Yeah, but I'd encourage you to watch this scene from The Chosen. Just look it up on YouTube. It's when Peter's walking on the water. It's the walking on the water scene. And if you haven't watched it, the whole context of Peter in The Chosen, they've sort of taken a little bit of creative liberty and introduced us to his wife. And in the lead up to this particular moment of him walking on the water, him and his wife have been through a miscarriage. And they've just had the feeding of the 5,000, and he's actually pretty dirty at Jesus because Jesus is starting to go to the Gentiles. Peter's having personal struggles.
For those who are missing cultural context, when someone is dirty at someone else, does that mean that
they're angry, like he's frustrated? Yeah, good. Thanks for that.
This is like, just have a bath, man.
Yeah. But he's frustrated with Jesus because he's having personal struggles, and he's like, Jesus, I feel like you're ignoring me. And it comes to a head when they're in this walking on the water scene. And just, I won't try and play out the scene for you, but it really just comes to a head of Jesus saying, and there's this one line. He says, "Why do you think I allow trials? Because they prove the genuineness of your faith. They strengthen you, and this is strengthening you." And then he says, "I have much planned for you, Simon, including hard things, but you just need to keep your eyes on me." And Peter then falls beneath the water. And after Jesus saves him and he's hopping back in the boat, he's just like absolutely broken and in the arms of Jesus. And he's just saying, just don't let me go. Yeah. Just don't let me go. And I think that's what I'd love to say to anyone who's feeling like that. It's just like, Jesus is right there.
Yes.
He knows the storm that you are in. He's going to walk out on the water into your storm. Like the metaphor is just beautiful. Meeting Peter in his storm.
Yeah.
them having an argument about it, Peter just being honest, but then it coming to this moment of just being like Jesus saying, I'm with you. And Peter saying, just don't let me go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if that's the point we can get to, I feel like if we can have that discourse with Jesus, surely that is the motivation for us then sharing our faith with others.
Absolutely.
And if we can invite people into that moment of vulnerability, I think it's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
Anyway, check out that scene if you want encouragement. It brings me to like sobbing.
Yeah.
Internal sobs at least.
I feel like
totally.
Yeah. I'm thinking about crying. Just
you're thinking about it. Yeah.
Like it's not on the verge, but it's like behind the verge. You know?
I'll consider it.
But I think that's powerful. I think that's so powerful. And that's all we have time for today. But wanted to encourage you, if you're feeling disqualified because of your mistakes, because of whatever it might be, don't let that disqualify you, but instead run to the arms of Jesus and understand that there is a God in heaven that loves you, has a plan and a purpose for your life, and wants to include you and love you in that moment, and make sure that you know that even though you've made mistakes, even though I've made mistakes, even though we're all sinners and separated from God, there is a God in heaven that wants to include you, embrace you, and help you to share Jesus with confidence and faith. So have a great week, and we will see you next week on the Yes He Is podcast.
See you next time.
Thanks, guys.